fine. Yeah.
Actually, I'm not used to any one of those things.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is for me, I find it very useful because it helps me stay on track so that I don't keep you guys too long or I don't go off onto some side topic. You
Yeah.
know, it helps me stay focused.
I wish I can do like you. Uh, this week is crazy for me. I have many things going on.
What's
Uh,
going on, Amenuveve?
I went to the eye doctor yesterday,
Right.
and the my new glasses are just expensive, but
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and unfortunately, I realized when you first sent me the message, I said, wow, that's so expensive. But then I thought about it. These glasses cost me $600.
really,
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was discussing with my sister yesterday night,
Yeah.
and she said yes, it's practically the same price we bought the other one in Togo. And I was like, huh, really? Because
Also,
it actually, she is the one who buy it for me. So she pays, so she knows what.
she knew the price. Yeah.
Yeah, she said yes, it is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
The 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 Togo one was just less expensive, but there is no big difference between the two. And I was like, yeah, I'm already broke because I have to send my package to Nebraska,
Oh, yeah.
like cooking stuff, bathroom, all the my stuff I cannot pack on luggage, so I
Right.
have to send, and it is really hard because I'm like broke, and
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
to.
Oh boy. Well, you know, uh, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, in 1 week I spent like 500 $500 in 1 week. It is huge for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's a lot.
yeah,
Oh
and
my.
yesterday I was like, I want to cry, and it is not. I'm not done yet. I have to figure out another
Well, what
other
happens?
thing.
What about your flight? Is Fulbright paying for the flight, right?
Yes, Fulbright will pay for the flight. And yesterday I asked uh, Mrs. Courvoisier if they can help us with sending the boxes because it's too much. They reduced the stipend. We were like 1,015, and now we are 1,030. They reduce it like 200, and it is quite difficult.
Oh man, they reduced it.
Yeah,
Oh boy, that's terrible.
terrible. Uh, Especially when you are not in your country and things are going on like that.
Yeah, things are expensive and things are just crazy here.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm trying to, but I'm trying to stay positive. It is an adventure.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, try to keep a positive perspective because
yeah,
that helps. I mean, I know, and believe me, I actually feel the same. I'm struggling with everything that's going on, and I'm in a much more relaxed situation. You know, this is my home and everything. So
Yeah.
I realize that it's very unnerving and very difficult. Hey, I want to ask you a quick question. Do you still have Venmo, right? Did you
What?
use Venmo? Or how did I, you paid me money for a book once. And how did you do that? Did you
Uh,
use
by
Venmo
Zelle.
or Zelle,
Yeah.
okay. Because I was thinking, I want to try and come and pick up those masks, and I can send you the money by Zelle if you want, or I can
Yeah.
bring the
Yeah.
money. Which is Zelle
Uh,
okay?
Zelle is okay. Actually, I will pay uh, other t-shirts before leaving Georgia
Oh, you want to get
because
another shirt? Okay.
yes, because the other time I bought one for me, one for my sister, and one for the lady who is in charge of exchange program in the American mission in Lome.
Oh, nice.
So this is they they don't receive it yet because of the man who is supposed to go. He just take his flight last Sunday, but
Oh,
he will be in quarantine for 14 days
right.
before stepping out and starting. So I will let them know that you ask for the picture, but still I want to buy others for my father and some of my friends before
Okay.
leaving Georgia, so that they will know that I've transited by ATL before going to Nebraska.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just let me
So
know how
like
many.
I will
Yeah.
like 3 or 4.
Okay. And try and figure out what sizes you want. So then we'll get that.
Those one would be is L1, maybe 1M. Is 2 is L and 1M, but we'll discuss it
Okay.
together.
Yeah. Because, I have to go downtown sometime soon. I've been home most of the time here because of the pandemic, but I need
Yeah,
to go down and pick up a few things at Georgia State. And I wanted to stop by and pick up the masks from
the
you and make
mask.
sure you have that
So we
money.
can do all this the same day.
Yeah. And I'll get the shirts too.
Okay,
Okay. So
yeah.
that shouldn't be a problem.
But I have to taste your pizza before leaving. I was telling Mrs. Courvoisier that she's asking me when I want to leave Georgia, and I want to go to the other side to see for myself the new place I want to rent, because sometimes if you are doing things over phone, it's not quite. So I was telling her by July 25th, maybe I will leave Georgia. So we
Oh, so you
can,
might leave for good or leave and come back?
no, leave for good.
Oh,
But I'm planning to come back for Christmas.
oh, good.
Yeah,
Well, that would be wonderful.
yeah, because I was telling Christian yesterday that I feel like I have a family here in JSU and it will never change for me.
Good, good.
So I will try to come back from time to time to visit and
Please.
keep in touch.
Yes. I think that would be wonderful.
Yeah,
So you might try and leave by the 25th?
yeah, because I need to find a place to stay, and I need to do. Hello, Mariam. She's
Oh,
not hearing
she's
us.
trying to connect to the audio.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a little slow process. Good morning, Mariam.
Good morning.
Good
How are
morning,
you?
Mariam.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Okay.
Good.
How are the
Good.
kids?
They are good. They are good also.
Okay.
Good. Oh,
Thank
good to
you.
hear.
Thank
Oh
you.
my goodness. Guys, you know, I sent you your rough drafts and they looked really strong. So hopefully, and I hope that you can open up that thing. Remember, Mariam, that we were looking at? Hopefully
Yes.
with this one, you'll be able to open it.
Okay. I don't know. Like I didn't check it yet. I'm
That's
sorry this
okay.
morning.
But when you do, let me know. I also attached it as a document so
Okay.
you could see it, but you should be able to open it directly in the Turnitin.
Okay.
Hi, Ming. Good morning.
Morning.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Hey, you did a great job on your rough draft. Very nice.
You.
And let's see, I think I see somebody else. Christelle.
Yes.
Good morning, Christelle.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Good. We missed you on Tuesday. I heard you may have had some computer issues.
No, I was not feeling well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Uh,
I hope you're feeling a little better.
yes, I'm
Oh,
good.
good. Yeah, and I really liked what your rough draft was really nice.
Oh, thank you.
And it's good to have you back. Good morning, Chu.
Morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. It's well wonderful to see you.
Good to see you.
Hey, I really liked your rough draft that you wrote.
Okay. Thank you.
Very nice. I gave you some feedback, so you can work on that later on, but it's really nice.
Okay.
And good morning, Anne.
Morning.
Are you getting ready for the big trip?
Not yet. You know, I'm a little bit a last minute miss, so I will pack
Oh.
my.
Wait, am I hearing that there will be a late night tonight?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, that's in my house. We're always like that. The day before a trip, we stay up very late packing. Well, I know you're going to have a safe and wonderful trip.
I hope so. Thank you.
We will. We're all going to be sending positive energy that you'll get there safely and everything will be good.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Nathan.
Good morning, teacher.
It's good to see you. Nathan, I apologize. I have not looked at your rough draft because by accident, you posted it in the timed writing instead of the rough draft. So I couldn't find it until this morning. But I'll do that right after class, okay?
Okay.
But everybody else, I got yours and they look good. Doris, it looked nice.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I was running.
It's amazing how things just rush. All of a sudden, you know, I get up, you know, kind of early in the morning. I think, oh, I got plenty of time. And then I look at my watch and I'm like, oh my gosh, class is about to start.
No, my kids, they start the summer camp. So and their school is in Bucket and I live in Iska. So it's like 30 minutes from my house to their school.
So you just got back in the house?
So
Well,
I
you
just
made it though.
up and then just run.
Oh man. Well, I hope they have a good time at camp.
Yeah, they're having a good time.
Good, good.
Wearing mask and you know, it's kind of weird. Look, all of these little kids with mask.
A strange thing, isn't it?
They are really good kids. Oh my goodness. I have such a problem with my kids. They are when I give them masks, so they, mommy, I can't breathe. I say, why? Just try, pretend. So I have a big issue with them with wearing masks.
No, I don't have, but they wear them really
Well,
easily.
I'm glad. It's hard. I feel the same way sometimes. I get claustrophobic with the mask.
Yeah.
We have to do what we have to do.
Yes.
That's hard. Mayameen, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for your rough draft. Some very nice writing.
Thank you.
And is Zara there? Did I see Zara come in?
Yeah, I just came.
Hello, Zara. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. What about you?
I'm good. I'm in a very good mood because I got to read your rough draft and it was very nice.
Thank you.
You know who else put me in a very good mood? A young man named Bradley. Bradley, that was a nice rough draft.
Thank you.
Now, everybody, I have feedback on your rough drafts. They're in iCollege. Please let me know if you cannot open it or read it or if you have any questions, okay?
Yeah, I checked it. I can't open it again.
You cannot?
No.
But you saw the thing I attached, right?
I didn't see anything. I don't know why. Let me check it again and then I will see you.
Okay, okay. Well, guys, I have a little something. I'm going to share a little thing that I want you to complete for me, where it's going to be looking at relative clauses, and I just want you to answer. I think it's like 6 or 7 items or something. Let me see if and it's choosing the correct relative pronouns. Okay? So see it. Let me know if you can see this. Do you see something that's come up that says relative pronouns?
Yeah.
Can you please complete that for me?
Okay.
And sometimes there may be more than one that will work.
Okay.
And I'm going to disappear for a minute. Don't miss me too much while you guys work. One thing to remember is that the word whose is used to describe, it's almost like an adjective. So you say, John Bunting, whose family is wonderful, lives in Georgia. We're almost there. Almost there. I'm waiting for one more person to complete it, and then I'll close it. And one thing I want you to note is that these phrases are so useful when you're adding extra information about a noun. And oftentimes, and I've seen a few of these in your rough drafts, where sometimes the writer adds a short sentence with not super important information. And that's the kind of thing that you can combine into another sentence. Using complex sentences and more involved sentences is a really strong, very effective strategy for academic writing. That you don't want to just have, this is A, this is B, this is C. You want to say, this is A, which is related to B, and then that leads to C. So it's all those ideas combined. Okay, I got one more person. Make sure you submit the poll. I'm going to end it in just a couple seconds here. So take your best shot. All right, I think I'm going to close it. I'm still missing one person. I don't know who's hasn't completed it. Maybe is there a button you have to click at the very end where you say it's done? And then we're going to go over this together, okay? Now, you know what they have to do to make Zoom even better? We should figure out a way so that Zoom, I have a coffee here. How do we get it so that the aroma of the coffee can be shared through Zoom? Or the aroma of fresh baked bread. All right, I'm going to end the poll, guys. You ready?
Yes.
And I'm going to share the results. So hopefully, can you guys see the results?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let me ask you something. You also see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you see the thing where it says warm-up quiz?
Yes.
And the poll, sharing the poll results, that doesn't block you from seeing that, does it?
No.
No, because we can move the poll result.
You can move it?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great. Okay, good. Well, let's take a look at that first one. And we're talking, oh, actually, hang on, let me bring myself back. Hi, everyone. I know you missed me. I'm back. So what do you think? What would you put for this first one about television broadcasters?
Who?
Who?
Yeah.
Anyone have anything other than who? Some other people had some others. Well, this one is interesting because when you're looking at this, when you're trying to construct these, you need to be able to identify what kind of a noun is it? Is it a human noun or is it a non-human noun? Because if it's non-human, you would use which. If it's human, like a teacher or a student, you would use who, right? What about broadcasters?
Human. No.
Human.
No. Oh, yeah.
No.
Well, it's interesting. Broadcasters really, I mean, when I look at it, when I first looked at it, I said, well, that's human. But it could also mean sort of the whole companies that do it.
Mm.
So what I would say here, this is one of those tricky ones, you actually can have either one of those. If you want to treat them as people, you would say television broadcasters who used to follow a voluntary code regarding violence on TV. But if you wanted to talk about broadcasters in a non-human way, like CNN and Fox News and all that, then you would say which used to follow. Okay? So if you use those, then you were okay. You would not use the word whose, because whose with the SE at the end has to be followed by another noun. All right, let's take a look at this. Oh, Penn State. It's a good school. What word would you use for number 2? Ming, what do you think? Oh, Ming.
Yes, number 2.
Yeah, number 2. What word would you use?
Who is
Well, think about, first we have to identify, let me ask you all this question. What noun is being described here?
Study.
It's a study. So is a study human or non-human?
Non-human.
Non-human. So in that case, the word we would use is which. Because it's not a person, you would say which. And study is never going to be a person. It's always this abstract notion. So a study conducted at Penn State, which observed about 100 preschool children before and after watching television. Oh, this is interesting. So there was a change. Just so you see that, Ming?
Yes.
Oh, good. Now let's look at number 3. Let's see if Bradley's around. Bradley, what do you think for number 3?
Which?
Okay, crime shows. And then we've got which viewers include many teenagers. Here's something that I want you to notice. Look at number 1 and number 2. And what kind of word comes right after that relative pronoun, which is who, which, or whose? For number 1, it's who or which used to follow, the verb, right? In number 2, a study conducted at Penn State, which observed, so that's a verb. So which is acting as a noun. In number 1 and number 2, they're both, the relative pronoun is acting like a noun. But for number 3, what's the word that comes after the pronoun?
Noun.
It's a noun, viewers. So we have to have something that describes the viewers. So this is a little bit tricky because this one makes it a little different because we're not actually showing the action of the crime shows. We're showing the action of the viewers of the crime shows. So when you're doing that, you have to use what relative pronoun? Anybody?
Whose.
Yeah. And this is interesting because this one's a little bit trickier. So here we need to show whose viewers include many teenagers. Something that's a little unusual about whose is that whose can be used for human or non-human nouns. So even though we're talking about crime shows, which are not human, we still use whose, even though if you look at it, you say, well, that seems like it's human. Do you see that, Bradley?
Yes.
I know he's nodding yes. Yeah. Okay. Where's Anne? Where's Anne? Anne, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you read it for us, number 4?
The average American child who watched around 4 hours of television of a day will have witnessed over 100,000 acts. What is it? 100,000?
Perfect. That's perfect, Anne. Yep.
Oh, okay, cool. 100,000 acts of on-screen violence by the age of 13.
Perfect. So that one is who. Thank you, Anne. Can I mention one thing to you guys? First of all, this is very upsetting news. Can you imagine our children are seeing 100,000 acts of violence by the time they're 13? This is terrible, in my opinion, as a father. But also, it's interesting, and I have the same problem, and I think many of us do, with when we look at numbers for some reason, I think we automatically go to our first language when we look at numbers. You know, it's so hard to talk about numbers in a different language. But that was perfect what you did. Very nice. Okay, let's see here. Is Doris here? Could you read number 5 for us, Doris?
Yes. The 1970s TV show Charlie's Angel, which feature female action heroes, is thought by some researchers to have encouraged aggression in young female viewers.
Perfect. So it's which. And that's because the TV show is a non-human noun. And we're actually we're describing directly what it did. It featured female action heroes. Great. Okay, let me see. Is Mayameen around? Mayameen? Mayameen? Did I lose Mayameen? I think I did lose Mayameen. Oh my. Amenuveve?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you read number 6 for us, please?
Okay. Dr. Angels, whose study will be published next month, has already begun the next step of something
His research.
Of
Yeah.
his research, because the
Right.
oh,
Go ahead, go ahead.
okay.
So notice that Menuveve is using the word whose because whose is actually modifying the word, the noun study. Because we're not saying Dr. Engels does this, we're saying his study will be published. So that structure is correct. Perfect, Menuveve, thank you.
Okay.
So it's whose. And I think this may be the last one. Nathan.
Okay. Anyway, podcast television, which hopes to maintain his audience, no longer limits programs with adults content to late night television.
Excellent. So the noun is television, and Nathan very wisely chose the word which because it is non-human, which hopes to maintain its audience. I want to point something out to you, and some writers will argue this is not a good sentence. And the reason why is that, do you think a television, broadcast television, really has the capacity to hope?
No.
Because hoping is not really hope is a human action. It's like to believe. You know, if you say, my chair believes that I'm too heavy, it doesn't really work. So some writers would say, you know what, it would be better to rewrite that a little differently. But grammatically, what Nathan did was perfect. Thank you, Nathan. And thank you all. Okay, any questions about that?
Yeah, I have a question. Is it whose? Is it for only plural?
Whose is only for what?
Plural, not singular, only plural.
Oh, no. Whose is not for plural. I mean, it can be singular or plural. So if I said to you, for example, my students whose main goal is can be my one student whose main goal is to practice grammar is also doing good work. So it's for singular or plural, and it's for human or non-human. What's important about the whose is that the main subject of the sentence. Does that answer the question?
Can you just repeat, please, because I think you have a network problem because your last sentence.
Oh, it didn't come through?
Your video is freezing.
I'm freezing?
Mm-hmm.
Let me try again. Does it seem okay now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes?
Yeah, I just said yes.
Okay, good. So, whose can be used with singular or plural nouns, and it can be used with human or non-human subjects. The most important thing to remember about whose is that the subject of the relative clause that's inside the commas is different than the main subject that you're describing. So if you notice in number 6, Dr. Engels is the main subject, but the relative clause, the subject of that is the study. So a study will be published. It's no longer Dr. Engels. If we wrote Dr. Engels, who completed a study last month, then it would be the who, because there's no new subject. Did my video work okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, good, good.
Can I say whose study was completed?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Whose study was completed. That's perfect. Yep, very nice. And let's see here. Okay. All right. I think Zara brought something up earlier where she talked about the difference between the relative clauses that we talked about called non-identifying relative.
What is happening?
Do you think there is a problem in John internet?
It's not here anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, his voice just cut off. When he said, Zara just asked about uh, non-identifying, and then I didn't hear anything.
Oh.
Oh God, I thought because of my internet.
No, I think it's his internet not working.
John said he lost his internet.
Oh, okay. I just closed my, yeah.
He writes in the group.
Mm-hmm.
He writes in our group.
Maybe he's trying to fix it.
Yeah, he'll try to fix it.
Anytime.
So guys, that means the class is over?
No, he's saying, I don't know, what is my phone?
Because he said he can get it, he will post the video on iCollege.
Let's see.
Read,
He
you can
lost
read.
his internet.
Which video?
Okay, I just lost my internet. I will try to reconnect. If I can't get it back, I will post the video in my college.
All right. Oh,
Okay, I wrote this one. Okay, just give him like 5 minutes. If no, just
all right.
Anne, can you hear me, Anne?
Yes. Hello.
So I was thinking of you. Are you leaving America?
Yeah, I'm leaving this weekend.
Oh my
Really?
Yeah, because I was waiting to have another flight because I had the plane company canceled my return. I was supposed to leave America in May.
Oh.
Yeah, because of Corona, they canceled it.
Yes, I hear yesterday in class we were talking about it is Monday. We were talking about it, but I don't know it's that soon.
Yeah, because I was in a list, in a waiting list, and they called me this Monday, and they told me that they have a flight for me.
Girl, I would miss you so much.
Yeah, me too. I will miss you too.
Safe trip. I hope we stay in touch.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
please, Anne, please stay in touch. I thought like this coronavirus destroy everything. I thought all of us will go together to some restaurant and have some.
My friend, I assure you, coronavirus has messed up everything in our lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to put it. What kind of situation is this? Huh?
Yeah. There's any chance we could see you again, Anne?
Sorry?
There's any chance we could see you again sometime?
I don't think so.
Someday.
Oh,
Yeah, maybe one day, but not now, like in few years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, folks, since we are discussing Anne's departure, I'll be leaving too at the end of this month. I'm moving to Nebraska.
Oh, you're also leaving Atlanta.
Yeah.
You're studying in University of Nebraska?
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations, but I will miss you guys.
I will miss you more.
Especially in Nebraska is nothing to do. So, but
it's
yeah,
not what?
Nothing to do there. It's like it's an estate with not so many things.
I will miss you more. But this is life.
Wow, wow. I'm a baby.
And
I just love this Deborah class. You, Crystal, and Anne back of me, and I just love. I was waiting impatiently to just look back to both of you guys. I miss those days.
Amanu Vivi.
Thank you.
Amanu Vivi.
Yeah, Net.
Please, can I ask you a favor?
Yeah, no problem.
If the teacher come back, can you send me a message?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to the gym. See you later.
Okay.
Happy workout.
Thank you. I do that almost every day.
Oh.
That's good.
Yeah, because I think I'm getting fat.
Me too. Me too.
Oh.
I gain weight a lot. Oh,
My father and my mother in my country they say that, hey, my friend, you are getting fat. You're so oh Jesus Christ, because of coronavirus. So
This is a sedentary because we.
no.
John is back.
Ooh, look
Hi,
who is
everybody.
back.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Good
Well,
to see
it's
you.
kind of, it's strange. You guys can hear me okay now?
Yes.
Yes.
For some reason, my internet went out, so I'm actually doing this through my cell phone. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
But right now you don't see my screen, right?
No. Your face.
But now you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so, and I think, I don't know if Mayameen, she actually, I think, had the same problem because she got bumped out too. Mayameen, are you back? I think she may still be out. Maybe we both have Comcast. I don't know. All right. So anyway, so let's talk a little bit about these identifying relative clauses. Sound good?
Yeah.
Oh. So, as we already mentioned last time, the relative clause modifies a noun and it will typically follow the noun that it modifies. We saw last time the non-identifying relative clauses just add extra information. What we're going to look at now are the ones that is their essential identifying information that you need in your sentence. So, for example, you could say children are often very close to their parents, but you change the meaning of it when you say children who have no siblings are often very close to their parents. So notice, instead of saying all children, you're making, this is a specific group, the children that have no brothers and no sisters, all right? And notice the difference, as Zara pointed out last time, there is no comma there. And that's how you identify something that is an identifying relative clause. So people gradually behave in ways which are more consistent with their preferred self-image. That's identifying the type of ways. So here, the relative clause, the relative pronouns that can start these kinds of clauses, it's a little larger. We can have that, which, who, whom, and whose. Also, just so you know, for those of you who love grammar, some other books that you have might say restrictive relative clauses, but it's the same thing. And what this does, the relative clause answers the question, which one? So if I said to you, my student who comes from Togo has done wonderful work, you would say, well, I know you're talking about a student, but which student? And it is the student who comes from Togo. And it's true, she did. She does do wonderful work. Without that information, if I just said my student does wonderful work, it's still grammatical, but it's not sharing the same meaning because it is no longer, it's very vague. So the identifying relative clauses are people who do not have children may not be aware of differences in birth order. This is because this is from an earlier part of our book where they talk about how oldest children are different than people who are in the middle, and they're different than people who are born last in a family. I was born in the middle. I have older brothers and sisters. I have younger brothers. The middle is the best, just so you know. Okay. So creativity is a trait that all middle children share. I do agree. Now, who, that, and whom will refer to people. And whom is used for what we call the object relative clauses. So here's a regular one, just researchers who study families have different views, but you can also say researchers that study families have different views. My opinion as a writer is that if you're going to use a relative clause about a person, it's better to use who instead of that most of the time. And the reason is the word that has so many different meanings and uses in English that it's clearer if you use who in this case. And my siblings are the people in my life whom I will always trust. Now here, the whom is the relative pronoun that, just like we were talking about the who's for the non-identifying relative clauses, whom allows the original subject, the main subject, in this case, people. It would be, there's a new subject within that relative clause. So I will always trust my siblings. That's the idea. But if I want to say my siblings are the people in my life whom I will always trust. So just like with the whose, you'll notice that the subject is different.
Sorry,
Whose,
could you please repeat what's the difference between whom and whose?
yeah, and it's a little complicated. Whom, essentially what we're doing is with the word whom, you're using the main subject as the object in the relative clause. So let me give you an example.
Can I say one sentence?
Yeah, give me one.
For example, my sister has two children whom I love them.
Well, that's perfect, except for because you're using whom, you don't need them at the end. The whom,
Okay.
the whom is replacing it. So do that again, but without the word them at the end. Give
So
me
my sister has children whom I love.
Perfect. And because you now have I love them is the idea, you can make that a relative clause instead of a separate sentence. You can say, yeah, my sister has two children whom I love.
Okay.
And your sister's very fortunate and her children are fortunate to have a wonderful aunt like you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's how whom works. And now let's look at whose. Just like with the non-identifying relative clauses, it shows possession. And just like in the non-identifying relative clause, it can be for people, for human nouns, or non-human nouns. Researchers whose work focuses on family disagree about the importance of birth order. And you'll notice that here, we're not talking about all researchers. We're talking about a subset, a small group of researchers. Those researchers whose work focuses on families. And that's the difference here. If we put those in, if we use the commas, we would be talking about all researchers, and we're saying all researchers focus on families, which is not true. So we don't want to do that. She cited a study whose results supported previous research. Now here, the whose results, the whose is showing possession by the study, which is also not a person. Which and that refer to things. In academic writing, that is often preferred to which in identifying relative clauses. I will also mention, as we saw in the last slide, that can also be used for people, but I think it's better to avoid it. So the study examines characteristics that are common in firstborn children, or the study examines characteristics which are common in firstborn children. Either one is okay. All right, this is where the grammar, take a deep breath. Sip your coffee or tea, don't worry. So there's a subject relative clause. And that means that the relative pronoun is the subject. So, and it means essentially that that relative pronoun, for example, in this one, psychologists who work with only children and their parents, that who is actually replacing the word psychologists. Because if you took that and put it into two sentences, you'd have psychologists can help the children learn, or you can have psychologists work with only children and their parents. Those are two different sentences. This is how you combine them. But when you have that other one, like the one that Zara gave us about her nieces or nephews, I'm not sure which, the relative pronoun is the object of the verb. So there are several strategies. And so here the main noun here is strategies that parents use to help their only children. Notice the two ideas here are parents use strategies to help their only children, and there are several strategies. So when we combine that, we can use the that is really replacing parents use strategies. The strategies disappears. Just like for Zara, we didn't say she has two children that I love them. You can't do that. You have to say because that I love or who I love, that who or that is replacing the word them. And that's an important grammatical move that you need to include as a writer.
Yeah, actually, I know this point, but since I never use whom, I forgot it.
Okay, yeah. Wait, was I saying who instead of whom?
Yeah.
Those are the children.
That.
Well, let me point something out to you because I'm glad you mentioned that. In modern English, a lot of times whom can be replaced by who. Those are the children who I love. But in academic writing, as Zara pointed out, it's really better to say those are the children whom I love. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. Yeah. All right. So if you have the second type of sentence here, the object relative clause, you can remove the word that. So the research they just published on sibling order was inconclusive. You can't remove it on the other one, but you can for that. Now, there's another thing where you can use a preposition at the beginning of the clause, but that's also used in very formal writing. An older sibling is someone on whom you can always rely. That's beautiful formal writing. What's more common is to say an older sibling is someone who or that or whom you can always rely on. And that's more common, although very formal writing.
The second one is easier than for me.
Which one?
The second one.
Yeah, and that's how people speak almost always. And usually, even in academic writing, you can still use that. The formal writing, it's almost like it's the kind of thing that judges will use and things like that. But you can't get rid of it. You cannot remove that pronoun if you're using the formal structure. I'm not too worried about that. Okay, we use it because it's very good to show differences between groups. So my friend who lives in Boston always remembers my birthday. I love that friend. But my friend who lives in New Jersey does not. So we've identified two friends. We know who they are. Some people like to play games that involve competition, while others like to play games that encourage collaboration. Those relative clauses are identifying the types of games. They're making a contrast there. So certainly in your essays, when you're writing and you're trying to contrast the two positions, this is something that you can use. So relative clauses are similar to subordinate clauses. And that just means things like, because I want to. That's a fragment. So you can't say, do something like this. A recent study reports that firstborn children are generally smarter than siblings, period, who are born later. You can't use it as a sentence just by itself. That's a fragment. You have to combine them into one sentence. Okay? So let's see if I can do this. I'm going to try and put you into, I'm going to pair you up with somebody. You're going to go into a breakout room, and I want you to talk about your goals and how you're going to reach those goals. And then each one of you is going to write something in our chat room about your partner. So here's my example. I have one of my colleagues. Her name is Ashley. I don't know if any of you know Ashley or not.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Yes.
good. She's wonderful. Now, Ashley hopes to teach writing. That's her goal.
No. It's happened again. Yeah, we lost him again.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. I'm back.
Hello.
I lost internet for a second there, I think. Hold on. I'm going to put you into your breakout rooms.
So what do you have to do in breakout room?
What? Pardon me?
What do you have to do in breakout room?
In the breakout room, you're going to talk to one person. So, for example, who's talking there? Is that Zara?
Yeah.
Zara, you're going to be with Amenuveve. The two of you are going to talk about your goals and how you're going to reach that goal. Then Amenuveve,
About what?
your goals. What do you want to
Oh,
do in Alaya? And what your plan is to reach that goal. And so Amenuveve is going to, after you guys talk for a little bit, you guys are going to come back and you are going to write a sentence in our chat room, just like I wrote for Ashley. Ashley, who hopes to teach writing, will get her graduate degree from GSU. But you, Zara, you're going to write about Amenuveve. Amenuveve
okay.
is going to write about you.
I got it.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
And you're going to work with Bradley.
Yes.
Christelle, you are going to work with Ming. Chu, you're going to work with Mariam. And Doris and Mayamin. I think we lost Nathan. Did we lose Nathan? Okay, you guys ready?
Yes.
Bye. when you come on back, do me a favor and write that beautiful sentence so I can learn about these people.
Okay.
I already
Hello,
know.
Doris. Hello, Bradley.
Hi.
So let me find, where's that chat?
Where am I? Ah,
Teacher,
Yes.
it is like a training or something where I can learn how to use the EndNote, because I already download
Oh,
the
good.
the software, but then I was watching some videos on how to use it and I just get confused and I don't know.
It's confusing. Maybe
Yeah.
if you want, maybe during my office hours tomorrow, come and see me and we can share your screen and I'll walk you through it.
Okay, perfect.
Because I think that's the best way. To be honest, those video tutorials sometimes can just drive you crazy.
Yeah. So I was wondering maybe they have an online training or something.
They might have that. We can check with the CETL, which is the Center for Educational or Excellence in Teaching and Learning. They may have an online place you can go to talk to them. I mean, I can show you some of the basics.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay.
So tomorrow, 1?
Tomorrow at 3?
3? Okay.
If that works. I know you may have to drive out to Buckhead, so.
Oh, no. No, at 3, no.
Yeah. Well, we can set up a different time. What time?
1?
1, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Send me an email message and we can do that.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, I want to take a look at some of these things that you guys are doing. Is everyone back here? Are we all back? Is everyone writing? Now, Maya Mean wrote to us about Doris. And that's really good. But remember, Maya Mean, you need to put a comma after Doris. Maya Mean?
Yes, I forgot it. Sorry.
Yeah. So, and the thing to remember here is that with relative clauses, you either put commas at the beginning and the end, or you put no commas. So, but Doris is a student in the IEP, wants to open a preschool. That's good. Very nice, Doris. That's going to be a great thing. Bradley's goal, who's an IEP student, is to finish the program and to do a master's in business or computer science. Thank you, Anne. Anne, there's one issue though.
Yes.
What you have to be careful about is the noun that's right before that relative clause that you've written is the word goal. So notice you've described Bradley's goal. So, but in that case, you can't say Bradley's goal, who is an IEP student.
Oh, yes, yes, yeah.
See what
It's
I mean?
the, yeah, oh, yeah.
So see if you can rewrite that, and maybe you can do something about putting goal after all of that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Take a look and see what you can figure out.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I understand.
Good, good. And let's say Amenuveve Zara, who wants to be a nurse. Amenuveve, remember you have to put a comma after nurse because you need the comma before and after that relative clause.
okay.
All right. And we'll study for nursing. Where is she going to study?
I don't know exactly, not yet.
Come on, Zara, stay at Georgia State, please. Please.
I'll see.
Okay, it's
If you are
decided.
going to be my teacher, I'm going to think about it.
Good, good. All right, let's just say you'll stay at Georgia State. Then I'll be happy. Okay. Let's see what Bradley has to say. Anne, who is an IEP student, wants having a simple and happy life. That's a beautiful philosophy, Anne. I agree with you. But Bradley, where should you put one more comma, Bradley? You're missing one comma. Where should it go?
In there. N.
Right. Exactly. Right after Anne, comma, who is an IEP student, comma, wants to have a simple and happy life. And then perfect. Christelle said Ming, who wants to attend college after the IEP program, comma, still has a dilemma on the area of study. Christelle, that relative clause is perfect. Just remember subject-verb agreement because Ming is singular. But the relative clause is perfect. And Ming, it's hard to decide the area to study, isn't it? There's a lot of things out there. So hopefully once you start studying in college, it will help you sort of clarify where to go. But, you know, sometimes it takes a long time. So be kind to yourself. And let's see what Ming has said. Christelle, comma, an IEP student who will finish the master's degree here and go back to her country to join the national program. Oh my goodness. Now, Ming, you've got to be careful. Remember, you want to use a relative clause. You've started there with a positive, which is nice. But you could say Christelle, comma, who is an IEP student. And then what I would say is end it there, put a comma after IEP student, and then get rid of and, because now you're going to say Christelle will finish the master's degree here. Do you see what I mean, Ming?
Okay.
Yeah, because right now, the way you've written it here is you actually have all of that being a positive, and there's no main subject and verb. There's just Christelle and then a big positive. And we want to change that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And by the way, guys, I want you guys to know Christelle is going to do amazing things after she finishes her graduate program. She is going to really make big changes, which is very cool.
Thank you.
It's pretty, I'm looking forward to hearing all about Nebraska and then when you go home as well.
Okay. Okay, we will stay in touch.
You please, promise me, please. And you know what I can do? I can send you scarves and hats and gloves because Nebraska's cold.
Thank you. Thank you. I know that.
Oh boy.
Imagine.
Be strong. All right, let's look at what Mariam has written. Wait, okay. Juha, who is my dear classmate. Now notice here, you don't need to add the word she because the subject is already Chu, right? So you can say, Chu, who is my dear classmate, wants to apply for graduate program. And then she's interested in psychology. Be careful because the whom would have to be for a person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was just I was just feeling my instinct and I say, okay, it's working or not. I say, okay, let's write that down.
I like your instincts, but this one we got to tweak it just a little bit.
Okay.
And after finishing her IEP program, be careful. After finishing her IEP program, that's not a complete sentence. Yeah. So you could keep it, if you get rid of the period after soon, she's interested in psychology, which she will apply to soon after finishing her IEP program in which she's a student right now. And then it's perfect. Oh, and that's nice. Boom, Bradley's thing. Now we know all about Bradley. Bradley, you are going to rock it in business or computers. Maybe you'll do business and then computers or vice versa. Maybe you can do both. Then you will be in good shape. Mayamin, who is an IEP student. Remember, Doris, you have to have a comma after your non-identifying relative clause. So you can say Mayamin, comma, who's an IEP student, comma, wants to pursue her bachelor's in interior design after she finishes the English courses. Mayamin, you know what I would love? If you can share some design ideas that you've been thinking about, if you've started doing that at all, because I need help. That would be cool. Oh, nice. Yeah, I would love to see some of the things you're thinking about, because that's like in houses and offices, right?
Right.
Oh, nice. And then Mariam, who wants to go to the university. Chu? You have the relative clause, but you need to have the main clause. So Mariam, who wants, Mariam, comma, who wants to go to university after, and you can either say after she finishes the IEP, comma, and then what else is there going to be? Like Mariam will become a professional in some field. I'm not sure if you decided quite yet which field. But Chiu, do you see what I mean?
Yes.
Oh, good, good. Okay, guys. Well, you've done a nice job with those things. I don't know if we have everyone, but I think we got close to everybody. So now I'm going to ask you to,
Mine.
who am I missing?
Zara, it's the first one.
Zara.
Yeah.
Do you wrote one about Amenuveve?
Yeah.
Can you post it? Can you just copy and paste it? Because I'm not seeing it in my chat room here.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
You know,
Me too, I
my
cannot see
internet came back, so I think maybe I missed, maybe it cut out for a second.
I just sent it.
Oh, there it is. Amenuveve, whose goal is to have a master's degree in public health. Oh, I like that you're using that whose, but where, you're missing one comma, Zara. Where should the comma be?
Before whose?
Pardon?
Maybe before whose?
Exactly. So Amenuveve, comma, whose goal is to have a master's degree in public health. And remember, because Amenuveve is singular, wants, with an S at the end, to run her organization.
Oh, yeah.
And guys, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Amenuveve is going to do great things with that organization.
Mm.
When she gets back and runs the organization, she is gonna shake things up, right, Amenuveve?
Yes.
Yes, yes, good. Okay, guys. Well, now I've learned a little bit about your partner, but now I want to learn more. I'm going to ask you now to write another sentence about that same partner and include an identifying relative clause instead of the non-identifying relative clause. Now, if you look at all of your examples that you've already written, you use the person's name. Mayami, Mariam, Amenuveve, all of these. Oh, and Nate is back. Oh, good. Hello, Nate.
Hello, teacher.
We're glad that you're back.
Thank you.
And so here's what I want you to say is, you can use this structure. I put Ashley is a person who cares deeply about both the environment and social justice. That's something I know about Ashley. I want you to write a similar sentence about your partner. And Nathan, I want you to write that sentence about me.
About you?
About me.
Using a relative clause?
Yes. And I will tell you a couple interesting facts. John lived in Venezuela. John loves to make pizza. So you can use either one of those. But I want you to write a sentence just like I have there. Ashley is a person who cares deeply about both the environment and social justice. Please write a sentence in this chat room about your partner. Nathan, what are you going to study when you finish?
Excuse me, teacher.
What will you study when you're done with the IEP?
I think IT.
Okay. I just posted a statement. Oh, I posted it to Nathan privately. I'll post it to everybody. Nathan, does that look good?
Yes.
Okay, I'll post it to everyone.
Okay.
There's an example. Now, Zara, that's good, but remember, Amenuveve and person are both singular, so what should we do to that verb like?
Likes.
Thank you.
John,
Actually,
if you
I
don't
know
mind.
this real. I just came up with this sentence.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm not sure if this sentence was real. I just came with this sentence about Amenuveve.
Well, Amenuveve is a very nice person. I'm sure if you ask, she'll help you with your homework. Right, Amenuveve?
Yes.
Oh, good.
If you don't mind, John, if you correct my other sentence that previously I wrote, you took some of my mistakes, but I lost that track. And I just want to know how to fix them back.
Okay,
So,
I'll find it for you.
Excuse me, teacher. I wrote my sentence. Can you see? You can check it.
Nathan, what you wrote there, I like that. But remember, I don't live in Venezuela now.
Oh,
in the
no.
past.
In the past.
So, and also because that's just adding extra information, you should put commas after John and after Venezuela.
Okay.
And then I want you to write a second sentence where you say, John is a person who, and then you can use either one of those things. Okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to check on Mariam.
Like can I say, like John is a person who.
Yeah. And you can add something different because you also know I love grammar.
Okay.
I love grammar more than pizza. And I love giving people homework over the weekend. And I'm actually, Mariam, I'm going to post the thing. I modified it a little bit.
Thank you so much.
Doris, I like that one about Miami.
I wrote that.
What? John is a person. Remember, Nate, it's all true. I do love grammar, but because you're taking, there are many people in the world, but you're looking at just one person and you're identifying it by the person who loves grammar, you get rid of the comma. So,
Okay.
Mariam, there's no comma after girl.
Oh, really?
For your for
Where?
this one. Because remember, these are the identifying relative clauses, no commas.
Oh, yeah. I thought like, in, I don't know what I.
It gets confusing. But notice for Mayamin, that's very nice. Doris is a person who has nice eyes. But remember, eyes are plural, so no article A. So Doris is a person who has, because there are two of them, two eyes, unless you like this eye, but not this eye.
Okay.
But grammatically, that's correct. There's no comma.
Yes, John, can you say what's
Yeah, just a second. Chu is a shy girl, and get rid of the comma, Mariam. John is a person who loves grammar, no comma, Nathan. Mariam is a student who is interested in Doris, the one thing I want to point out is that when you say someone is interested in, it's going to be a noun. So if you're using a verb, you put, what do you put at the end of that verb to make it more like a noun?
Where?
Because, for example, I would say, I am a person who is interested in making pizzas.
Pursuing?
Yes, yeah, pursuing. And actually, I'm interested in eating pizzas, ing.
Okay.
But yeah, she's interested in pursuing interior design. Zara is a person, wow, amenuveve, I like that. What's interesting is that structure, instead of saying to whom, it would have to be for whom. For whom, finding solutions for childhood obesity is very important. And that's a great structure, really nice. Bradley is my friend who likes cats so much. Bradley, do you like cats?
Yes, I have 2 cats.
Well, are you going to ever share them with us on the video?
Okay, next time.
Yeah, please. I've never seen the cats. Because, you know, one of the great things about these video chat things is we get to see, you know, spouses and children and pets, everybody come walking through. Let me see. So Bradley is my friend who loves, so Ming, that's perfect. Nate, now you have that perfect. John is a professor who brings smile. Well, I'm happy about that. we'll see when I assign your homework, who brings, and I would make it plural, smiles to his students' faces while teaching grammar. But that's very nice, and thank you. And we have more grammar, so we'll see if the smiles remain. Okay, anybody else posting anything? Do we have everything? Christelle, did I see something from you? Christelle, did I see something? Did I see Zara's?
I think.
Oh yeah, Zara, you got yours, yep. We got Nathan, we got Miami. Oh, that's even better, Nathan. Nice.
You like that?
Yes. I'm glad to know that you are, and I actually like your use of the passive voice there. Homework given by his teacher. Very nice passive voice.
Thank you.
You've warmed my grammatical heart. Okay, good. I think we got some nice things there. Anne, did Anne post something? I don't remember seeing anything from Anne. Did I see something, Anne? Oh, hey. Oh, she's packing.
No, not yet. I'm coming. I'm writing something.
I know you have your suitcase open right next to, right outside the screen. Okay. Just remember, drink lots of water on the plane. All right, I want to, the good, Ming is a student. And remember, because it's student, you would say a student is a student who plans to stay in the United States after she graduates. Here you would want to have an S at the end of graduate. But that's perfect. And Ming, I'm so glad that you're here. We love having you here. Yes. I hope not only do you stay in the United States, I hope you stay in Georgia, in Atlanta.
Excuse me, John. In my sentence, the last one, John is a professor who brings smiles to his student face.
Yeah.
So instead of N, the preposition is wrong. N is supposed to be to.
Yeah.
And other thing is right?
Everything is right, except for I would make smiles plural because, and make students plural, and actually plural possessive. So it would be students apostrophe.
Student apostrophe.
Because it's all the students. Although they may others may disagree. They may say, Mariam, just say one student gets the smile. The rest of us are crying. All right. Speaking of grammar and putting a smile on your face, I want to just take a look for a minute. Let me see how we're doing. Oh boy, yeah. Looking at making comparisons by using the phrase as and then ending with as. Can you see my screen, everybody? Is that on or is it off?
Yes.
Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. So some people think that youngest children might not be as mature as their siblings. So notice we're making a comparison there using as mature as. And sometimes younger children do not get as much attention as their older siblings. So these are two different ways that we do this. One with an adjective, mature, and the other with the noun attention. So we have the following patterns. We can use it for adjectives and adverbs. Youngest children are not as independent as their older siblings. We can also use it with an adverb. An only child socializes as well as children with siblings. Not all children adapt as quickly to masks as other children. We can also have it with a noun phrase. An only child has as many close friends as children with siblings. So it's the same. We use it to compare quantities with count nouns and non-count. So for non-count nouns like research, because remember, Doris, research is uncountable. Younger children sometimes don't get as much attention from parents as firstborn children. So I don't eat as much food as I used to, because I'm trying to lose weight. But then if you want to have a count noun, you would use many. Growing up as an only child has as many advantages as growing up in a large family. So we use them in the following ways. If you want to emphasize that two things are equal, and you can also add the modifier just to emphasize it. Only children, and when I say only children, that means a child that has no brothers or sisters. That's an only child. Only children usually turn out just as well as children from large families. Because sometimes people think if you have no brothers and sisters, it's harder for you. But that's not true. You can also show that things are slightly unequal, almost, nearly, about, not quite as. Firstborn children are almost as open to new experiences as their younger siblings. So you show it's close to being equal. And to emphasize a big difference, not nearly as. Genuine concern over sibling order may not be nearly as widespread as it seems at first glance. So that's how we use that. So, not surprisingly, I want you to think about, and here I'm going to say, you can talk about the person that you were just in the chat room with, or you can use someone else. You can use, for example, your brother, your sister, your teacher. Someone might write, I am not as enthusiastic about grammar as my teacher. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write some comparisons, and it can be with the person that you were just talking to, with another student, with me, with your people from your family. And you can talk about two different people. So Doris, how many kids do you have? 2. That's a good sound effect for children. So you could write about the 2 children, but I want you to do me a favor, write 3 sentences. 1 using adjectives, 1 using adverbs, and 1 using nouns. And here's an example. Don't tell her, but I'm using my friend Deborah. You know Deborah. Don't tell her. Deborah is just as enthusiastic as I am. She doesn't play soccer as well as I do. Definitely don't tell her that because she'll get mad. And she has just as much homework as I have. So I want you to take a minute and write 3 sentences. 1 using as with an adjective, 1 using as with an adverb, and 1 using as with a noun. Any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you a couple minutes to work on this, and I'll be right back. I'm right here, so feel free to shout out a question, but I'm gonna put my picture up here so you can look at my beautiful sons.
morning.
Remember that if it's uncountable, you're going to use much. If it's countable, you use many for nouns. For most action verbs, when you're showing that comparison, you're going to be using for the end of it, it will be, like I said here, she doesn't play soccer as well as I do. You could say she doesn't play soccer as well as I play soccer, but typically you're just going to use the phrase as I do, unless it's the verb to be, and then it's as I am. And if you're using a modal, you would use as I could, as I should. And good morning, Beatrice.
Good morning.
Anne Marie's a good question. She wanted to use the word introvert to describe her friends and herself, but she wanted to use it as a noun and not as an adjective. And the problem with, you can use it, but you have to use a different structure, because this is sort of talking about degree. So you could say they are not as introverted as an adjective as I am, but if you wanted it as a noun, you could say they are not introverts, or they are not introverts like I am. They're not introverts as much as I am. So it's a little bit different structure. But Anne, I like that you're stretching things out and looking at ways to express yourself. That's good. Remember that we use the much and many only for the nouns, not for the adverb. So Beatrice, for working hard, you can say just as hard, has worked just as hard as I have. And don't forget, work has to have the ed at the end, but you wouldn't have the much in there, okay? Christelle, how can we check out if your cooking is really good? I think we need to try to have some food somehow.
That is a good one.
Because, you know, I'm a good judge of food. I like food.
Yeah, we trust you.
Especially in pizza matters.
I am an expert in those matters, yes.
John, do you ever try Afghani food?
I have once or twice, but I am very much interested in trying more.
Good. My family think I'm a good cook, so I would love to show you my cooking skills one day.
Of course, you are a good cook because you are a good mom.
Oh, thank you.
Chiu, where you say my sister likes sleeping, I would say as much as I do. My sister likes sleeping as much as I do. My sister likes, or you could say my sister likes to sleep as much. Yeah, it still would be as much. Yeah, it's interesting. My sister likes sleeping as well. Yeah, because you're not saying that she's good at it. It's just that she likes it. Yeah. That's an interesting one. That's cool, Chiu. Nice.
Can I say I like to eat pizza as much as my sister? Like.
Yeah. Well, and you know, that's an interesting one because when you say, if you say, I like to eat pizza as much as, if I like to eat pizza as much as my sister, you want to end it with as much as my sister does. Or as much as, yeah, you can say that. I like to eat pizza. When you speak, people will just say, I like to eat pizza. I like to eat pizza as much as my sister. But when you're writing, you should put on that final verb tacked on, as much as my sister does.
Oh yeah. But can I say as my sister like?
Well, you can say as much as my sister likes pizza or likes eating pizza. And I wanted to point that out because Mayamin, you had a nice one there about cooking. But if you're not gonna use that sort of what we call, it's a dummy verb of does or do, you have to you have to put the whole thing. You can't just say, I like cooking as much as my sister likes. You have to say as much as, or I guess you said something, my friends do not like cooking as much as I like. You have to say, my friends do not like cooking as much as I do. My friends do not like cooking as much as I like cooking. But you can't have it just I like.
For the academic writing, what's the best thing? As I do or as I like?
Not as I like. I would say it's better to use as I do unless you need to restate the phrase again. But it's not necessary to say as I like cooking or as I like eating pizza.
Okay, because I thought just we said as I do in the speaking, not in the writing.
Well, what's common in speaking is if they say, he doesn't like eating pizza as much as me, which is really bad, but it's what people say sometimes. But both of those are fine for formal writing. It's not considered informal to say as much as I do. Okay? Now, Mariam, I want to be happy as much as others are. That changes the meaning a little bit, because what you're saying is you want to be happy because you see other people being very happy. So here's, because the verb you're actually doing there is not the verb to be, but to want.
Oh.
So you want to say, I want to be happy as much as others do, or as much as others want to be happy. She respects me as much as I. Here's one. This is nice. The second thing that Mariam, she wrote, she respects me as much as I do. Because there, what you're saying is I respect myself. Now, if that's what you mean, great. But if you want to say I'm respecting her, that's a case where you would want to state the whole thing, because then you're going to change the object. She respects me as much as I respect her. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So in that case, if you're going to change any part of the meaning, you do have to spell the whole thing out. Yeah?
With S, she respects.
It should have an S on there. She respects.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, she respects. And I'm learning about Doris's children. Is this correct?
Yes.
That Augustine, he's trouble. He is not as obedient as Francisco. Now notice what she did here is she said Augustine is not as obedient as Francisco. Because it's an adjective, you can just stop there. You could add the verb as not as obedient as Francisco is. But because you're using the adjective, you can just stop at Francisco. And Augustine does not drive go-karts as well as Francisco does. Poor Augustine. That's why he's not obedient. Those are very good sentences. The SC children are as courageous as I am. They can bear pain as silently as I can. They fight the disease as much as I do. Amenu Veve, those are beautiful. Those are perfect grammar, and they tell a beautiful story too. These are brave children, yeah?
Yeah, they are brave.
Yeah, so, and you've used all three structures there very well. And let's see, Augustine has more. Now, because you're going to say has more, you've got enthusiastic is an adjective. You need to change that to a noun, Doris. And then for playing with the ing, for playing instruments. Now, it's interesting what Doris is doing here, where he's saying he has more, then you actually have to use a different structure. He has more enthusiasm than Francisco. Because notice now you're no longer starting with as. So you could say, Francisco does not have as much enthusiasm for playing instruments as Augustine does. Do you see what I mean? But you can't do the Augustine has more enthusiasm. I mean,
I cannot.
Well, you can say that, but you don't use the as. The as structure, because essentially now you're just saying this guy is more enthusiastic than somebody else. So it's a different structure where you have more, adjective, than, and then the other person.
Oh, okay.
So you could say, I love pizza more than you do, right? Okay. But then you would say, no, I love pizza just as much as you do.
Okay.
Okay? They're hard workers as much as others are.
Well, that's good.
Yeah?
When she said she respects me as much as I do, can I say she respects me as much as I do with her?
She respects me as much as I, it's interesting because in a way you could say that, but I think it's better to actually include the whole thing in this case. As much as I respect her, because you could say as much as I do her, and that works, but I don't think it's ideal. Oh, I realized I'm off my video. I want to get back here. Hello, everyone.
Hey. It's
Okay.
not the picture.
Yeah. Now you're stuck with the live version here. They're hard workers as much as others are. Mariam, that works. And Augustine has more enthusiasm, Oh, yeah, we already talked about that one. Okay, good. Okay, well, let me see here. You guys, I think I'm actually going to move on from this. I just wanted you to have this because I do think it's important to be able to mention this, especially as you're talking about these two sides to an argument, as you are, oh man, I have more grammar for you. But you know what? I'm going to save this for another day.
Ooh.
Don't worry. So I'm
I
going to
have a lot
save
of
that
homework.
for another day. The grammar is not gone. It will be there later. But I think we've had enough grammar for today. But I do want to just quickly jump over. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of grammar. Oh, my goodness. And I think we have lost our dear friend Nathan. His phone died, and I guess he was on his phone. But I'm going to share my screen again. I've moved it to where I want to be. Okay, so I just want to talk to you briefly because before we go, we have our timed writing for this week. And as I mentioned to you, it's a summary response about an essay. It's 2 paragraphs, and I give you in the assignment how long I want each paragraph. I think it's like 6 to 8 sentences, something like that. But you're going to have the summary and then the response. Mariam has already written a really nice one, and she said she's willing to share it if anybody wants to take a look at it. This is your 4th timed writing. As I mentioned last time, I just want to remind you, if you are satisfied with what you've already done and you're feeling overwhelmed, and let me tell you, for all of us right now, we're all dealing with a lot of stress and a lot of uncertainty. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and you're okay with your grade, you don't have to do this. I would love to have you do it because one of my core beliefs is the way to become a better writer is to write a lot. So I think it's a good idea to do it, but it also don't feel bad if you just say, you know what, let me just focus on my other things, my other classes. If you do this, it only improves your grade. You can't hurt your grade by taking this because if it's lower than your other ones, we just don't count it. All right. Are there any questions about your timed writing? All the information is going to be in the quiz once you open it. There's 90 minutes to do it. You're going to have to read an essay and then write about it. I'm going to give you 2 choices for writing the essay. It will be 2 of the essays from our book. So you're going to get a choice of 2. You'll find out which 2 they are once you open it. And then you can choose one and write your summary response. All right. Any questions?
Yes, please. Are the both time writing and essay are for Friday, for Sunday, both?
Oh,
the time writing and the final draft?
No, the final draft is not due for another week. Your final draft for the essay that you wrote about the controversy, that's not due for another week. So what's due this Sunday, and don't forget, Anne, that the time will be different for you.
Yes, absolutely.
I think you actually get a little extra time now, don't you?
Yes.
So there's the quiz on Unit 18. Please do it as often as you want, and I'll take your highest score. Post at least twice in the discussion board for this week. Compare the answers that you did for exercises with the answer key that's in iCollege. Complete timed writing and submit it first as a quiz, and then I'm going to ask you, like we did last time, submit it as a Word document as an assignment. And then there's one more academic word list quiz that if you have not done it, please do it. And again, that's something you can do as many times as you want. Every time you do it, it's different. So the more you do it, the more useful it is for you. And homework for Tuesday is to read the essay in Unit 19. Are there any questions? Nice. Guys, I think we are done. You know, on Tuesday, I kept you a little bit late, so I'm happy to report I'm going to let you out a little bit early. Not a lot, but a little bit. So enjoy your 10 minutes. Enjoy them. Breathe in, breathe out. And I will see you next week, okay?
Yes, John.
Yes, I'm in.
39 minutes.
Can I say for a while? I want to discuss something quickly.
Sure. Okay. Yep. Yeah, you can stay.
Okay.
Anybody else? Anything else?
No, I'll send an email today for.
For 1 o'clock tomorrow, right?
Yes.
1 o'clock EndNote. I recommend also for anyone else, especially if you're going to grad school, EndNote is a great tool. It's great to help keep track of all your references.
Okay.
Can you say this again?
There is what?
What?
Can you say it again?
Bye.
Bye. I'm
Bye
sorry.
bye.
What was it?
Oh, bye.
That is what you said.
Oh, we were talking about, we're going to be doing a little session on EndNote, which is to help people with references and citations. It's free software from Georgia State University, and it's really useful because
Can
it
I join
actually,
also?
pardon?
When?
John, also join also tomorrow with you guys this session?
Yes, 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, so you will send the Zoom session?
Yeah, I'll send it to our WhatsApp group.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So anybody who's interested, it's a great tool to have. It integrates with Microsoft Word. It creates your reference lists. It creates your citations. It's a delight.
Thank you. I would be there.
Oh, great. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.